Hi, it's been a while since I recorded, so I wanted to show you where I was at. When I was making this poncho, the idea was to make a poncho that would work in the car seat. And the poncho I was making isn't actually made for the car seat. It's just a regular poncho. So I had to start back to square one. So I went online and I looked up different ponchos that were online that you can get a free pattern for, and I found this reversible, she calls hers the reversible car seat poncho, and she lines it, and that's at Pattern Schmattern, and she does a really good tutorial and shows you how to make it. Since I had already started the other one, I didn't have enough of the gray fleece, so I didn't make mine as white as hers, and I didn't line mine because I'm using the thicker polar fleece instead of the thinner regular fleece. If you get like regular fleece, you can see it's very thin and very lightweight. But the fleece I'm using is the very thick, I guess they call it polar fleece. I bought this at Hancock Fabrics, and they had a nice selection of the real thick fleece. But anyway, that's where I am, and the difference with me too is I cut a slit down the front of the poncho that she makes, and I added a strip of Velcro, so that when my granddaughter wears this, she can pull this tight if it's very cold outside. As far as the designs, I just went with flowers and some bugs. I went with a toadstool. I went to that same website, www.clicker.com, and I pulled up some more graphics that I could use. If you have a coloring book for your kid or something like that, that will work too, but I'm in the middle of moving and I packed all my coloring books away, so I'm just using what I have. So I used my stencils to make the butterflies, and what I did was I copied my stencil for my butterfly and then I enlarged it, so I was able to just shadow it with the pink, because the dark purple is the actual stencil. And this one was the stencil itself, and I just changed it. I just took the, I didn't cut out the antennae, and I added those later. As far as the eye, I got a little container of dress-it-up buttons that had the micros in it, the little mini macros, or micros, however they want to call it. So I used those eyes for my butterflies, and also for this little bug down here. I used those little buttons for that. They came with buttons and stars, and they're the tiny, tiny ones. I don't even know if I have them here. Have them in here? No, I don't. As far as the yellow flowers, the yellow center, I used the dress-it-up buttons that are the gold stars out of the gingerbread buttons. The macros. I don't know where it's at. Anyway, you get the idea. But that was for the eyes, so I used those for the eyes on the bugs. As far as this little bug, I have a coloring book that has a bunch of little whimsical bugs, but I had packed it, so I got out my old Mega Gallery clip art, and I found a whimsical bug under the insects. So I just put it on my printer, and I kept enlarging it until I got it as big as I wanted it. But I didn't want to do the hands and the feet and fleece because that was just too much detail. So I ended up just putting a couple shoes on the bottom. And as far as the ladybug design, I just took my pink fleece and I just cut out my back of the shell on the bug in this polka dot. But there's just so many things you can do with these designs. I could have made an entire aquarium here. I could have done a forest scene. I could have done a bunch of animals. These are teacher's aids. I don't know if you've seen these or not. This would have been a cute design all the way around the poncho too. These bugs. I could have used these and used this as a pattern. In fact, I turned these legs over right here, and that's how I got the antennae on this little caterpillar. For the actual body caterpillar, I just used my circles, and I just did graduating circles all the way around with my circle maker. And I ended up not using these as my flowers on here because I wanted the whole thing washable, so so it can just go straight in the wash machine and not have to worry about anything. So as far as these, the flowers that I made from before, I just went to, I believe it was Michael. And over in the jewelry section under the findings, they have these bar pins. They come in 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch, and it comes in a box of 60 pieces. So if you divide 60 by the $2.99, they're about 5 cents each. So that's a really good deal. So what I ended up doing is taking those other flowers I've made, and I put a pin on the back of them, so I can use that as pins on the little fleece caps that I made. This pattern for the fleece caps came from All Free Sewing, and she's also on YouTube, and she shows you how to make them really easy. It's only one seam. This is for a doll. I took Dana's head, which is 12 inches all the way around. Well, actually it's 11.5 because I made my seam. I used the stretchy side. I made this 12 inches by 9 inches for the doll. I put my one seam in it, 1/4 of an inch, and then I did my 1 inch clips and I tied it off, and that's how I got the hat for the doll. And the same thing with this, I made matching matching pins to put on top of the little fleece caps. You can do anything with these little add-ons. I did this with just fabric with a pin in the middle, and I thought that was a cute design too. So if you're going to make it for an adult is about 22 inches for a head size. My granddaughter, which is this one here, her head around is 18 inches, so I've made this 18.5 inches and put my seam in, and I did hers. I wrote it down. For the doll, I did 12 inches by 7, and that'll fit the Journey Girl dolls and probably your American Girl dolls also. And for my granddaughter, her head was 18 inches, so I cut my fleece 18.5 by 10 inches. And if you're an adult, they recommend 22 inches long by 11 inches. But all your fleece is going to be cut just down 1 inch. And like I said, she does a whole tutorial on All Free Sewing. She'll show you how to do the whole thing from start to finish. But I thought this was really nice because you can keep doing all different kinds of pin-on designs and change the entire look of your hat. And you can match your different outfits. Like right now I'm doing pink, so you can mix and match. So I could take these and make that as, once I put my clip on, I could make that as the little add-on decoration for this cap. So I'm trying to do matching ones too for the little doll and my granddaughter so they can have matching. I'm just playing around with different things. I'm even thinking about cutting out shapes in plastic and making different shapes on these designs. Another thing you can do is also using your stencils on your ponchos or your blankets. I bought these years ago, but these are just, Michael still carries them from 1 inch all the way up to 6 inches. So you can actually do like an alphabet. If you're going to do a fleece blanket, you can write the alphabet all the way around the blanket. Would be really cute for a kid also. Also on these ponchos, if you have a kid that's into like Pokemon or Mario Brothers or whatever, you can go to like Nintendo online and you can print out the characters. So instead of putting a toadstool on there, I could have put a Pikachu on there. I could have done Squirtle. I could have done a whole design all the way around of all the different Pokemon characters or Mario Brother characters. As long as you don't try to sell them. Pidgey, I did Pidgey on the quilt. I could have done Pidgey on the poncho. But there's just so many things you can do. And anyway, that's where I'm at. I want to get this done. I haven't sewed the side seams up yet because I want to try it on my granddaughter. So once I do the side seams up, once she's in the car seat, she can just open up the Velcro, because she'll have, these will be sewed up. She can open up the Velcro and put them around the car seat after she gets her all harnessed in her car seat. Now, as far as that lady on that does the reversible car seat online, she lines her. She does 2 layers of fleece. So I don't know if you can see my stitching or not. It's just a basic in and out stitch that I do on my sewing. I'm going to do a close-up. Hopefully you can see the close-up. See how I've got the, on the toadstool, I've got the yellow circles. Now I sewed all my yellow circles on before I sewed the toadstool on that bottom half of the mushroom, because it was easier to work with, so I didn't have to, put this on and then sew all the individual circles. Same with the flowers. I did my circles on my flowers before I put my flower down. So it just depends on what's easier for you. But anyway, she lines her, if you don't like the stitching on the back, even though I use the same gray, use a darker gray and it won't even show, you can line this with another piece of fleece, but I guess it would depend on how cold it gets in your area, because you wouldn't want it too hot. And like I said, this is the polar fleece. It's very, very thick. Anyway, that's where I'm at, and hopefully once I get all these hats done for the doll and for my granddaughter, I'll get back to some doll clothes and some doll shoes, because I'm going to take this leftover gray fabric that I have, the fleece, and I'm going to make a mini poncho for Dana here to match. I'm not going to do all this graphic stuff on it, but I'm going to match with all my leftover fleece. I'm going to match some kind of design for Dana. Okay, anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.